Someone at the door, John, now I'm here to stay. Tell me who the fuck gonna face the music. More bricklaying, that screen time. Been cutting back on the daily usage. Long road for the road dogs, for the weird miles. From the soapbox, got BKTs on this bitch.
I'm about that life. Ask P. Diddy. I just came from his house, even though I'm feeling funny after drinking P. Diddy juice. Wait, what the fuck? What's happening here?
Don't ask me, folks. I don't know what my obsession is with midgets or whatever, whatnot, but you can actually blame Cyber. Cyber gave me that clip. So blame Cyber for that one, not me for once. Cyber gave me that. So if not for Cyber, I would not have that clip.
I'm very surprised.
There you go. That's actually not that bad. I'm really toning it down with the clips and whatnot and all that, guys. Aren't you glad that I didn't play like some 3-minute bullshit?
True.
Andres, I gotta play your intro. Let's do it, baby. That's Andres' girl, the LS girl there. Pocahontas. Yo,
No.
you gotta give hats off to Dr. Phil's people, bro. Like the way they put those little clips together and shit and whatnot, with the slow motion and shit, with her swinging her fists and all that and everything and whatnot, and like the way that it's so good. They make these people look so much worse than they actually are. Anyways, folks, MCU's Bleeding Edge of the house. What's going on? It is Monday, 4/22/24. It's good to see everybody. We are here, of course, to do a Deadpool Wolverine, I guess you could say, new or first real trailer reaction. Here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge report, because our one weekly show that's titled. I've got my special guest co-host, Andres, the pop culture guy, with me. I'm Jeff S, aka True Knowledge. Like I said, I got back again from last week. From S-Men episode 4 that we're doing 5 next this Monday after Deadpool. J-Run 2000 is back. What's up, brother?
Ooh, yeah.
What's up? What's going on, everybody?
Jesse Starcher making his first appearance ever the week after J-Rap on the Monday show. What's up, Jesse?
Oh, man, excited to be here, guys. Can't wait to talk about some X-Men 97.
Seeing Jesse's Punisher background always gets me lit, dude. I see that shit.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. That video I played to start off the show, just so you know, J-Rat, that is Andres' like intro video.
No, that's Jeff's intro. That's so
Don't worry, Andres. I believe you.
yeah.
Anyways, isn't that like Andres' hat is looking dope, isn't it? He's got a nice X-Men hat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Keeping it real.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, you need to show your cool hat. I like yours the most, but you know.
I've been wearing my S-Men hat a lot, or like in general, in public and stuff like that and whatnot. I like to switch them out. You know that.
Yeah. He has like the leather hat, like he's in the gold team and we're like the blue team. You know, like in the
Jesse and J-Red have seen my fucking S-Men hat before. Anyways, guys, so we're here to do S-Men 97 episode 5. Really dope, solid episode. I just want to ask you guys before we get to the Deadpool Wolverine trailer, which is obviously big shit, just came out today. Jesse, and J-Rent, since, I'm here on Monday with this asshole Andres every Monday, right? I'm going to go to you guys first. I'm tired of his opinions. Whatever.
you, sir.
Your fuck yous are not effective on me, sir, when you just mouth them and there's no vocalization. Jesse, what do you think, brother? Before we jump into the Deadpool trailer, X-Men 97, bro, is it just me or is this like, some people are saying that it's sort of resuscitating the MCU. I don't know if it is or not, but what I will say is that if it's just me or at least for episode 5, is this not some of like the best writing that the MCU has had since like phases 1 through 3 almost?
I'm having a good time. I'll tell you that much. I mean, as far as like the writing and the caliber of what's happening, it's fun to see this in an animated show. I dug what we got from What If, but this to me is number one. It's taken me back, a lot of nostalgia. You grew up on this, and it's fun to see a Marvel property actually done fairly well, and one that you can't say has been ruined by somebody just trying to do a cash grab on a nostalgia factor. But as far as bringing the the MCU and all of that, it's breathing some life. It's making me excited about Marvel. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I haven't been that excited really for about a year or so, maybe a little bit more. And this is definitely stoking the fire. So like, okay, let's see what's going to be happening next.
Nah, Echo didn't help. It certainly didn't help.
Oh man,
what do you? Nah, Echo didn't help. Having that really good trailer and then having that show come out the way it did.
Yeah.
You and I never even talked about that freaking finale. You and I, Jesse. That's a conversation for another day, man. Or maybe what we shouldn't even have. J-Red 2000, sir. What do you think? I know you're a big fan of good writing, right? I don't know what the fuck happened with Marvel and Bo DeMaio or whatever, whatnot. I don't know. I really do, to this day, I don't know. I've tried to dig. I don't know what he did wrong that they fired him. But either way, he killed it on X-Men 97.
Yeah, there's a lot of like reviews and a lot of people that say and claim that the show's kind of giving like new life to Marvel. I personally would have to agree somewhat with it because like when you bring up like Echo and you bring up some of these other shows, they're just not really doing it. Like nobody's interested in Miss Marvel, the show, the movies. Everything's kind of like on like this like downward trend. And when they bring back X-Men 97, it's really geared towards an older audience, but at the same time, it's for a younger generation too, because where it starts off, they make it to where you can jump right in. I think we brought this up a little bit last time as well, and and just kind of repeating that with the good writing and bringing back some of that nostalgia factor that like Jesse mentioned. It's a breath of fresh air with an animated series, and it's doing more. People are watching it because it's doing more than anything else that Marvel has. So it feels like that.
All right. I'm just a pop culture guy, brother. I now care about your opinion all of a sudden. I've swung around. I got what I give me. My bipolar kicked in. I don't hate you anymore. Now I love you. So what do you think, sir? I had a bipolar mood swing. Let's go.
Yeah. You're having your period right now. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Exactly, sir. Exactly, sir. Come on. You know men can menstruate now.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, I agree with our best friends here in the panel. I mean, it's just a well written show. I mean, this is the best writing we have since Loki season 2 and Guardians Volume 3 in terms of the Marvel content. But also, for me, it's really having the most iconic characters of Marvel we all love have their shine. Because so far the phase 4 and 5 has been these, other lesser characters that, barely all of us know, and it's good to have exposure, but I need my favorite characters sometimes. I always want to see Batman and Superman, and Marvel, I want to see Iron Man and Captain America and X-Men and Spider-Man all the time. And just taking away the light from those characters to these other characters that we barely know of, and they're not spending the time or development to these characters that people could care about, Like, come on, like the Marvels, like the reason the Marvels fail is because people didn't care about. I mean, unfortunately, I care for Miss Marvel, but no one didn't, because they didn't see her show, or Monica, who barely is introduced, and it's like you're rushing, it's like, come on. And so it's great to see this show, seeing the X-Men finally after 5 years since the Dark Phoenix movie, we're getting proper X-Men stuff. It's great. And plus, the fact that, when we get to the trailer, it's great that this is coming when we're going to get a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So this is the year of the mutants, baby. And so I'm happy that, we're getting X-Men stuff. I mean, it's great.
Andres, that question, your contribution off that question just fucking spun my head around like the poltergeist, bro.
Yeah.
Like my head almost spun around in the fucking full rotation off that. I don't know what you just said. You were in like all kinds of different places. You were like in different places and different universes and shit, whatnot. You time traveled there during your contribution. You went time cop.
No, what happened? The simpler words. Fuck you. I love the X-Men. They're the best. And this thank goodness.
Sir, we both know. You even have admitted that live publicly to other people, sir, that other audience, that on the first question that you get sometimes in the panel, sir, you like to go all over the place sometimes.
Those folks, don't listen to it. It's not true. I'm very excited to talk about Deadpool, Wolverine / X-Men 97. That's all I'm saying. And don't listen to this person. He's having his period. Anyway.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Okay. So one last question before we do the trailer and do our little reaction, which is not going to be a long time kind of thing. We're going to just knock it out. And I'll just go in the same order. I'll go to you first, Jesse. What do you think about this direction that supposedly the Marvel Studios and Disney are going to go, where they're going to go with a lot less live action with the Disney Plus series and more animation? They were saying that before X-Men 97 came out. Now X-Men 97 is out, right? And again, I'm not like as wired in, for instance, as some other creators that cover entertainment and pop culture fandom news every day, all day long, right? And like, really focus on general audience type perspective and stuff like that and whatnot, right? I'm more of like a, biased kind of like geek nerd kind of guy, right? That really kind of digs a lot of this stuff that we cover like this, right? X-Men is like my shit. So, and I'm a comic fan, that. So I'm going to have that bias, but do you think that X-Men 97 kind of lends some credibility to maybe that being a good direction for them to go in to save some money and cut some costs?
I mean, I think just as a general business decision, it's a good idea. I mean, and X-Men 97, sure. If you're watching the success of something like this happen, I don't know who on the side of the of Disney is sitting there going, well, this is successful because we didn't do everything else at the same time. Hopefully that's what they're realizing. Hopefully they understand that, taking your time and putting effort into a product and good, whether it be a lot of money or no, as long as it's smart money and you're going to save some money in the long run, you're not spreading out all of these ideas all at once, then deluging, I guess that's the word, your audience.
No, but Jesse, you know what I'm saying though. You've seen the numbers. We've talked about this before on other shows. Some of these live action Disney Plus series have been very expensive.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, you're not putting all that money into that now. You're not doing.
Remember Secret Invasion?
Oh geez. Yeah, and how well did that go over? Not very well at all. I mean, and you just don't. There's no reason to do that to your company, and spend money where it needs to be spent. Find yourself a good writer, find yourself a good production team, find yourself a good team to put the thing together, and you're going to have a great product. So yeah, I mean, if this is an indication of them scaling back and putting more effort into a good product, then great. Yeah, this needs to happen. Hopefully they realize that that's what's going on and they continue this trend.
Well said. I'm glad that that's the direction you went with that. What do you think, J-Rant? Kind of the same question. What do you think of this this sort of sentiment that maybe it's a good idea for Iger and Marvel Studios and Feige, right, to cut back on the live action stuff? Stick, of course, do the films, right? Make the movies, try to make them better. Try to stop spending so much money on them too for the ones that are making them, because it's ridiculous how much money they're spending for some of these movies. But still, supposedly, as a cost-cutting measure, at a quality, over quantity measure, as Jesse pointed out, they want to go in a direction with more animated shows, more What If, more X-Men, 97 type stuff, rather than the live action. Do you think that's a good way to go, and that X-Men 97 is kind of lending credibility towards that, mentality?
Well, they don't want to. The problem they're having right now is I think they're saturating the market with all these Marvel movies, and so there's nothing exciting. They're just pumping out these movies. They've had plenty of success with animated shows like the. I don't even know if the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was. I mean, it's part of Marvel because of Spider-Man, but like there's success there. I'm trying to think of.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a really good point that you bring that up, because that just, if anything, that reinforces the desire out there for people to go out and spend money to see good animated stuff, right?
Yeah, people will see something that's good. Animated shows are funny. You can do certain things with animation that you just can't do with a live action, and just the humor can be different as well. I mean, you can do seriousness. You know, the X-Men 97 doesn't have that. So I mean, it doesn't have the humor in it like that. It's more of like a grown-up, like serious type soap opera type of animation, which I like. I've always liked that. It reminds me of well, it doesn't remind me, but like this is kind of off topic, but like Invincible, you know how that's kind of serious. It's kind of got like a similar style to that. It's not as gruesome as that, but you know, if they're looking at like who's doing great with animation, if they look at the success that like Invincible had, I mean, people love that show. I love Invincible. You know, I was waiting forever for the new season for that to come out, and it did, and it was awesome. Now I'm waiting for season 3, and I'll be sitting back waiting. So there is success in animation, and since they are having, it looks like they're having some success with X-Men 97. I don't see why they wouldn't kind of continue that, but like, kind of play it safe. I like the weekly show drops as opposed to like dumping the whole series or the whole season. It just builds anticipation for what happens next. And yeah, I'm okay with them not producing as many movies. Let me be excited for when to come out. The Deadpool Wolverine one, I mean, that's a different story that's kind of anticipated right now, and I'm hoping that one's not a letdown. It looks pretty decent, but we'll talk about that later.
See, now, I respect your opinion and whatnot, and I think that what you had to say and whatnot, everything is all really, really solid and real valid. But I don't think the movies are a problem. I think that I like to see them making at least three of them a year or whatever. Like I think we're used to that, the MCU fandom, right? And I think that's doable, right? I think you could have the quality still and bring it back, right, to like we used to have, and still give us 3, even maybe 4, every once in a while in a year. But I just believe that really, I think where the real downward slope of the quality has really been with the live action series for me. And let's be honest here, the live action series don't make as much money for Disney, right, in terms of subscribers to Disney Plus as box office dollars that they earn from these movies, right? It's just it's totally different. What do you think, under this pop culture guy? Do you think that X-Men 97 is going to be validation for Marvel Studios to launch? I mean, look, they already basically greenlit 3 seasons of this. So there's going to be X-Men 98, I guess, X-Men 99. They can do another 5 years or 7 years if they want to, probably, in this show. Do you think this is validation for them to go in a direction where maybe they should do a 3rd season of What If off this, which I think they were going to do that anyway. They were thinking about doing it. But you've heard about this whole deal, though, of them potentially going with a lot more animation as opposed to the live action, especially with the Disney Plus series. What do you think? Do you think that the X-Men 97 has kind of validated that as a way for them to go?
I don't know about that. I just think hopefully they could take it and say, okay, we can maybe do something that the live action cannot do, is just be fun with the universe we have, either continuity of the MCU or not. Because I really want to see standalone stuff from Marvel and not be too much tied into the MCU. And, you see X-Men 87 being, nothing connected to the MCU, doing way better than their product, since. I mean, like, What If season 2 was okay, but it didn't generate the kind of buzz that this show has been doing for since what? Like since Loki, the 1st season, or WandaVision. So I hope they will take the lessons of like, okay, not everything needs to be interconnected or like be part of the MCU. Let's make standalone stuff that people like about these characters and like expose them to the wider audience. And plus, it's also possible.
That's a good point, Andres. I like that, but at the end of the day, though, isn't the whole formula and success of the MCU built off that interconnectivity and having that going on?
Yeah, but I mean, look at the Marvels. I mean, that interconnected thing didn't help that movie. So it
doesn't always land. It doesn't always land. You get my point.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm not a big believer of the interconnected. I can go either way with this. I personally just think Marvel can do a bit more in terms of experiment, with their characters, And yes, I get branding and being consistent with the brand of the MCU, but I mean, look what 97 is doing. It's doing fine. Like people want, like, we need to focus on the characters. Like look, not to drop weight, but like Doctor Strange 2. I don't mind that movie, but here's my thing. Because you have Scarlet Witch there, it takes away the shine and the light of Doctor Strange, the character. I'm going to see a movie called Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. So, and why I like about X-Men 97 is it's an X-Men show. I'm watching every X-Men character I like, or I don't care initially. They're being awesome in the show. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of superhero product and stuff. So I hope they do take the lesson of, like, look, make these these superhero shows about these characters that people like. Don't focus on this interconnected thing. That should be the second. The first is you caring about the characters and telling the story.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You should end it there, because that's a good point. When you put it out put together that way, I appreciate that more. And I think you're right. I think that overemphasizing that interconnectivity, right, and putting a precedence over other aspects that are important, to the quality of the product, is not a good recipe for producing whatever it is, whether it's live action, animated, movie, series, whatever. All right. So let's play this Deadpool 3 trailer. Let me grab it, pull it up, and whatnot, and everything. So who's watched it? Who hasn't?
I've watched it
twice now. With Jeff.
Just once.
Just once, J-Rat?
I told you.
All right, I gotta turn off the stupid echo cancellation. So give me 1 second. Thanks, StreamYard. Love ya.
Fuck you,
Love
StreamYard.
Oh no, it's not like that. I didn't say that, StreamYard.
I'm so confused. I thought we were doing the X-Men 5 review.
We are. I told you. Remember, I told you we were gonna play the Deadpool 3 teaser.
Yeah, we started.
React to it.
Yeah, but we started talking about.
I know. I did that just to try to get the conversation going before we did the trailer.
I'm just messing. It doesn't matter to me.
Hey man, you know me. I'm Crazy Jeff, baby. You never know what might happen.
True.
Yeah.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go. Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider. I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
I don't know anything about saving worlds, but you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
You were an X-Man. You were the X-Man. I am soaking wet right now.
Boys are so silly.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action sequence. Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even forest bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes! But I can't.
All right, Joe. All right, I'm going to switch it up this time. I'll do this time first, J-Ret. What do you think? Give us your reaction. Take as much time as you want because we're just going to go around one time, and then we're going to be done with this. So, what do you think? Deadpool and Wolverine, the new trailer. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's great. I loved it. It looks really good. I don't know why that the Madonna song fits so well with the trailer though. I was like, oh, Madonna, okay. But it doesn't sound bad. Like I was kind of like feeling it, I was like, made me want to put on some Madonna for whatever reason. 80s Madonna. It looks really cool to see them as a duo. Come out here. I'm interested. You can see the the what do you call it? Those time police. Where are they from? The
time variant.
Those
the TVA.
Yeah, the TVA. Yeah, TVA's in there. So you obviously, I think I've heard like rumors you could probably see like different Wolverines. We don't know which Wolverine this is because of the outfit. That none of the Wolverines ever had this outfit, so he can't be from any of the ones that we've seen, right? You don't think so? Maybe
it's possible.
No,
and then the bald lady.
I 100% believe that there will be Wolverine variants in the film.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I think so. The bald lady. Do y'all know who that's supposed to be?
Yeah, that's
Did you already look up to see?
Yeah,
Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, Cassandra Nova. That's Professor Xavier's twin sister, sort of.
I thought it was his evil variant. Is it a twin sister?
No.
Twin sister?
Yeah, it's essentially in a way it's his twin sister. It's kind of complicated.
In the comics,
Okay.
definitely in the comics, it's his twin sister. But I think you could be onto something because it could be another variant type deal. Because
what she'll be? Yeah, I'm sorry about that, J-Rat. What she'll actually be in the film or the MCU? Fucker, who knows? I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard something that she was gonna be like Xavier's evil variant, not as opposed to like a sister or anything. I don't know. I could have read that wrong. I thought the trailer was awesome. It was funny, like little humor stuff at the end and the beginning. I like when he was like, "Look, lady," I'm, at the beginning he called him a lady. I thought that was kind of funny. Actually,
that was good.
The action looks good. I want to see them fight, just kind of like go at each other, maul each other, because they both can't die or they both heal in different ways. So that's gonna be a nice little scene where they go at it. And then I'm interested to see the actual bad guy because we don't really get to see who the bad guy is, right? In there.
Well,
we do
I mean, as of right now, they're saying that the Cassandra Nova is going to essentially be what the film's villain.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I couldn't tell that was going to be like the what is it, the antagonist or whatever it is called. Anyway, yeah, I couldn't tell, but it looks good, like them as a duo. I'm excited to see like where it takes them. They went into like that. Was that like the Doctor Strange portal?
Yeah.
Does that look like that they jumped into? Yeah. Overall, I mean, if I'm going to judge that trailer and base it off of that trailer, I mean, it looks like a solid 9-10 for a movie. I just hope it lives up to the trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right. Okay. I'll do the pop culture guy.
Yeah. I've seen this trailer twice and it still doesn't get old. I'm just so excited to see this movie. I mean, this is definitely the most anticipated film of 2024. I mean, I'm just happy to see Hugh Jackman wearing that comic accurate Wolverine costume, and the shock of me, I can't believe we saw the slave sleeves of Hugh Jackman because he was wearing the full cover suit. That, oh my god, that killed me when I saw that. It was like, oh my god, he's being comic accurate Wolverine, and seeing those tombs that are directly from Days of Future Past. If you've seen the story, it's like, oh my god, that's like crazy X-Men lore. Yeah, and Deadpool, I'm just happy they're keeping the rated R thing. They're really doubling down. It's like, this is rated R, cocaine, fuck you, blood and guts. We're getting that. And I'm just having this trailer just told us that. And I'm just so happy. And I'm just excited to see Hugh and Reynolds like beat together, because they've been teasing. Like, it's been teased in the first 2 Deadpool movies, and of course the actors in real life. It's great to see that in this trailer, which is amazing. I'm happy they're keeping the cameos in secret. Thank goodness, because I don't want that to be the conversation about the movie. I want just talking about Wolverine and Deadpool and the X-Men universe. That's it. That's all I need in my life, and they're doing it. So that's my thoughts on the trailer.
Okay. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me switch over here. All right, Mr. Jesse Starcher, sir.
Oh boy, man. Yeah, this is exciting. I'm definitely going to the theaters in July. What a trailer. This shows finally we get to see these 2 guys on screen together. And yes, Deadpool and Wolverine are going to obliterate each other before they come to an understanding at some point that they realize that they have to put their heads together and defeat whatever evil is in front of them. Much like in every classic Marvel story, you'll usually see the 2 heroes go at it at first, and they'll finally get together and fight the bad guy. I remember, I think it was the first trailer, like there was some talk about Dr. Doom. And, I don't remember if you guys saw that or not, but, none of that I didn't see that in here, at least unless I missed it. We've obviously got probably our best picture of who the big bad is with Cassandra Nova. If you guys didn't notice, or I'm sure that people have pointed this out already on social media, there is a nice little nod to the creator of Deadpool and Rob Liefeld with the shot of Liefeld. Just Feet is the name of the store that they're walking in front of. Actually, it's in the thumbnail I'm looking at, which is just, if you know Liefeld, you definitely know that he's been criticized for just that fact. And I guarantee you he gave his blessing for them to do that. Go ahead, poke some fun at me. He's that kind of a guy. And I real quick to finish this out, I just saw on Twitter before I got down here that Ryan Reynolds, he's like, I swear to Marvel Jesus, I did not plan this. And what had happened 35 years ago on April 22nd, Madonna's Like a Prayer hit the top of the Billboard charts. So 35 years ago,
nice.
Today, this trailer dropped is when it actually hit the top. So anyway, but yeah, man, I'm stoked. I can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is probably one of the Marvel properties that I really look forward to. Marvel as far as like action, and I love rated R Marvel stuff. As you can tell, I'm a big Punisher fan. I definitely like the Netflix series. I was a fan of that. So if I could see some serious Marvel superhero bloodletting, I'm down.
Well, to wrap up the show, I'd forgotten even mentioning it in my opening. But to wrap up the show, we are going to talk about Blade, and the fact that it's actually going to go. Going to be shooting once again. They're going to start shooting again soon. We are going to have that conversation, and if we have time and whatnot, everything, we're going to try to work out a little short discussion. Well, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. Jesse, you got to bail. I'm tripping. My bad, folks.
I'm creating at some point tomorrow. I'll catch the recorded version.
you'll be there in spirit, brother.
That's right.
Me and Andres talk about it. There you go.
Right.
All right. So, of course, folks, X-Men 97 episode 5. We cannot do our recap or whatnot and all that unless we actually play some X-Men animated intro shit. And I'm not going to play the X-Men 97 one. I'm playing the old school, 90s animated intro. Did you know the actual the original 90s X-Men animated intro music and and scene there is actually considered like nerd geek Viagra, right? For like dudes who are like nerds and geeks and shit and whatnot, right? Who have like difficulties in the erectile department, whatever.
Pop that
Like,
baby on.
instead of like giving them pills, whatever, whatnot, all they need to do is just play the intro music and shit and whatnot. And then, you know what I'm saying? Shit gets rock hard. There you go, baby.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
There you go, folks. Dropping nuggets of new information, new, valuable, important information every day at the MCU Bleeding Edge. So, X-Men 97, Episode 5. Now, the title of the episode is Remember It. And essentially, I've got a couple of clips of scenes from the actual episode. So I'll play one. So I already started with the intro. I'll play one just to kind of again get the juices flowing before we get started on the actual recap. This is nothing from the ending, but somewhat close to it.
Something's a bit deeper than skin, Cher.
Not this.
I wager that fool will break your heart in two.
Gambit always knows the odds. That it?
In this game, he do. Till then, we be friends, mon ami. Just friends.
I don't think I can bear to narrate what might happen next. But this particular story,
All right. I wanted to play that because, yes, the fucking Watcher was in episode 5. How about that? That would be our first question.
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
I'm going to you, Mr. J. Rat 2000. What do you think? We don't do our recaps and reviews all the time over here structurally the way we do on Wednesdays and Friday shows. A lot of times on Monday shows, we'll just jump all over the map. So we're wide open here. When you guys contribute off my questions, feel free to go across the whole span of the episode with your answers. But J-Rat, what do you think? Is it not dope that they actually inserted the Watcher in there? No, again, I don't care about the interconnectivity bullshit, the what if shit, nothing, any of that. I just think it's dope that they stuck the Watcher in there.
Yeah. Do you know why?
I believe.
Do you know why they stuck him in there?
I believe
Do you
so.
have a theory?
I have a theory, yes, but I don't believe that I honestly know perfectly would be able to explain it to you like other people might be able to, but I have a good theory, yes.
I was going to say,
so
whenever the Watcher shows up, shit's about to go down. That's usually what happens.
So,
if you see the Watcher, it's about to go down. Something bad's about to happen.
Well, that was a Nexus event,
so
right? When there's a Nexus event of some kind, whatever, whatnot, everything, the Watcher always investigates the situation, right? He's always present. And whatever happens there, that whole
he's there for yeah. So what I was gonna say was he's there for like when the major event is gonna happen. Basically, like what you guys are saying, he's there to witness the major events that take place that happen in the universe, and that's considered a major event. At least in the X-Men, it's a major event. It's pretty big for what happens in this episode, because it's not like anything that's ever happened in the X-Men, sort of, in a way. Actually, probably not that I could think of it, but it kind of reminded me of like some type of like season finale episode in a way, just the way it was, but it's not. It's like in a mid, in the mid of the season. But I don't go too far. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that was really cool that they put him in there. It's like foreshadowing, let you know that something was about to happen. If you saw him before it all happened.
Okay. What do you think, Jesse? What are your thoughts on the Watcher being there, and whatever your theories are, I guess, probably on why his presence is even there?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's funny because I watched this episode twice and I didn't catch that till you just played that shit, and now now I'm sitting there thinking like, holy shit, does that make sense now? Because it's known in the comics that if the Watcher is going to be involved, if you see the Watcher hovering, run. That's what you need to do. Get the hell out, because that means that there is something bad that's going to happen and you are going to possibly be in the middle of it. So I'm really that kind of it makes me love this episode even more, man. This is by far my favorite episode, and that just even puts it over the top for me for this season. So crazy stuff.
They're doing a really good job of cramming in a lot of side stuff, just like they always kind of did in the early 90s seasons, right? Even more of it now, right? There's nothing more distinct than that sound of the Facebook phone ringing, right? It's got a very distinct ring to it, doesn't it?
I heard it.
Anyways, I'm just pop culture guy, sir. What did you think? I didn't see The Watcher either, Jesse. I didn't find out until I watched somebody else's recap of the.
I had
episode.
no idea.
Yeah. So that was the weird part when I saw I find out it was from Jeff. The thumbnail that he creates for our Monday reports. I saw The Watcher in the '97. And I was like,
I was doing the same thing, dude. I'm sitting there looking at it like, okay, he's going somewhere with this, I'm sure.
Yeah. And now seeing this clip, I was like, what? Oh, really? So
what is Jeff doing with that thumbnail?
Yeah, exactly. What he's doing is jump. I mean, something erotic, maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. I mean, I saw the episode in Disney Plus, and I guess that makes sense. I guess if we're getting the third season, What If, that'd be kind of cool to see a standalone episode of What If in this universe. That is gonna be cool to see. Like the Watcher seeing it in a different perspective. Plus, we saw Cable. Imagine a What If episode. What if Cable intervened the destruction of Genosha? That is going to be so exciting if they actually were going to do that in third season. But we'll see. I don't know.
They could do a whole season. They could do a whole season of What Ifs just with X-Men.
Oh yeah. I know, but the fact that they're teasing that's actually kind of cool. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, let's be realistic, though. I mean, hey, look, we already know we're going to see Captain America at some point in this season in X-Men '97, right? So and in previous seasons they've had Spider-Man on the show and whatnot and all that, right? So they mean just because this show's not connected to the MCU directly doesn't mean that they're not going to have characters like the Watcher and things like that and whatnot. They are. It is still Marvel.
Yeah. Well, and people have to understand. Like Captain America is connected to Wolverine's origin. If you know your comic books or the other animation, when I was growing up, like they always done that. If you don't know what Jeff is talking about, the '90s show Spider-Man crossed over to X-Men in the fight part, dealing with the mutation that Spider-Man was going through. He was becoming Man-Spider. But it's always been a shared universe. If you haven't seen the shows in the '90s,
most definitely.
Yeah, and by the way, they did a version of Secret Wars, the '80s comic book storyline in Spider-Man, and Storm was in that. That was from the '90s show. So, it's been
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that they've done some crossover stuff with some of the animated stuff before. I'd heard that. So essentially, the way that the episode starts off is just that, there's a camera crew, whatever, whatnot, like at the mansion, and this reporter, her name is Trish, is there to sort of like interview some of the X-Men because this is like some sort of celebratory day at Genosha, right? Because Genosha is going to be brought into the UN and all that and whatnot. So we start off with, there basically all the angles you see that like Jubilee and Roberto are together watching it on their TV and whatnot and all that, right, on the news. And you can see that they're like, they show Beast, they show, Scott, they show Jean. Everyone looks very like forlorn, right? Like, the reporter Trish is like, talking about, how tough, mutants' lives are and things like that and whatnot. And so, we go right into Genosha, right? And they're, them flying in, the team of select X-Men that show up for this, this mission, which is just basically Magneto, Rogue, and Gambit, right? Essentially, that's all it is. And we see the statues of Magneto and Professor X when they pull up. We see Leech from the Morlocks. We see Pixie. We see Glob Herman We see Lin Lee, Nature Girl, right? And eventually we see Val Cooper. Dr. Valerie Cooper is there, right? Which I always enjoy seeing her. Like, she's actually been pretty present so far in this season. She's there, right? And basically, this is the pre-celebration part of of us seeing Genosha. And Nightcrawler pops out. Well, first of all, we find out that Madeline Pryor now has a spot on Genosha's High Council, which I thought was kind of weird, to be completely honest with you, that they just skipped her over there. Kept her in the fold in the show. Whatever. I would have thought they would have just got rid of her. But after that, we see the introduction of Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, who basically he's a devout Catholic in the comics. And so he's on Genosha essentially, to voice or to work on the behalf of the faith communities within the mutant community and whatnot, or civilization here on Genosha. But basically, his mutant ability allows him to teleport through what's called the Brimstone dimension. And he pops up and we get a really good scene with him and Gambit and Rogue, because they got all connected and got together in earlier seasons of the show before. So the voice actor actually who does Nightcrawler, and who's done him in the past, is Adrian Hoff. He's back. He's always done Nightcrawler, and they brought him back. So he's from the original, animated series. So I thought that was really cool, seeing Nightcrawler there. We see Multiple Man. Genosha has its own currency. Love seeing Multiple Man, the S Factor. Genosha has its own currency. It's purple. We see Exodus, right, at one point. We see Cypher. And then we see Dazzler, which was really cool, really dope. It's always cool to see Dazzler, right? That was really dope. Right after we came off of episode 4, right, where Mojo said Dazzler found a new gig, right? Well, here's Dazzler, right? She's a Genosha. So we see Dazzler, and then we see one more, or maybe there's another one after, one more cameo spot. We see Boomer from X-Force pop up.
I missed
with
that.
the short blonde hair. Yep, she pops up very, very briefly.
All right.
Cannonball's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I forget her actual name, but what is her name, Jesse?
Oh boy, I don't know. Boom Boom's the only one I can think of. I cannot remember her actual name.
I remember all I remember is they used to call her Boom Boom and Boomer and everything and whatnot because her mutant ability, right? She could blow shit up.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the X-Force, man. I fucking loved seeing Boom Boom. It was dope. It was really short, but she was there. You couldn't miss her with her short sort of Butch Dyke, Butch.
I think I thought it was Dazzler again for some reason. Now you say that because she was doing some crazy stuff with her hands, I remember. So yeah, you're right.
Her name is Talia Smith. That's
right. I never remembered that.
Yep, yeah. That's right. But love the X-Force. So we had that. We see Boom Boom. Then we see Gambit and Nightcrawler sort of discussing him and Rogue's relationship, which everyone knows has been strained.
Mm-hmm.
The insertion of Magneto into the equation, right? We've got sort of a love triangle deal going on and whatnot, right? So I'll stop there and I'll go around the panel and ask questions right now. I'll go to you first, Andres. What do you think, Andres? What are your thoughts on everything going on in the episode that I just laid out to you, leading up to when the reporter Trish, interviews Scott and all that and whatnot, and we get into that part of the episode.
Okay, yeah. This part was very exciting. It's cool to see, the mutants getting somewhat being accepted to the world, now that, Genosha is getting into the world nation. So, and seeing this documentary on the X-Men is kind of cool. And we get really fun stuff here, which is hilarious. Especially with Beast, him interviewing, which was it's funny. I like how proper he is as a mutant, so that was really great. And then plus when we cut to Magneto and Rogue and Gambit, it's like, oh my god, that is just so funny. They start with seeing those three together. I thought, oh my god, it's going to be an exciting episode. And then and the drama starts in. I'm very happy they're using Cooper, because one of the things annoys me with the live action movies, we never had a human character with the X-Men or like interacting with them sometimes. And so it's kind of cool that they did that. Like that's the reason I like First Class, because Mora was there, and and that was kind of neat to have a human character there next to the X-Men. So it's neat to see this character doing that. And the 90s show did that with Mora as well, if you've seen the 90s show. So it's really cool. And I like Cooper as a character. And they're doing a really good job with this character because she is from the comics. And I'm really liking this character, especially her interaction with Neo is so cool, Yeah, and Nightcrawler. Oh my god, I was so happy when I saw Nightcrawler when he bams and it's like he's laughing, it's so cute. Oh my god, it's like so great. And oh my god, thank goodness I did rewatch the 90s show. I got to the episode when we got introduced to his character, and it makes a lot of sense if you've seen the show. I love those three pairing, especially him and Wolverine. I like his relation with Wolverine. It's kind of sad that he wasn't part of that group, but yeah, I was kind of surprised that was the same voice actor. He sound perfectly the same. Like he sounds more German in this than the 90s show. So it's really cool. I like the system of Genosha. It's really interesting location. It reminds me a little bit of Wakanda, but for mutants, and it's like really cool. And seeing the statues of Magneto and Xavier is really neat. And oh yeah, the Easter eggs of all the mutants was crazy. It's like, oh my god. I recognized some, and then there were some that I missed, because a lot of the, mutants have similar powers. So I didn't get Conch Boom Boom, which was crazy because I like Boom Boom as a character. I saw her in X-Men Revolution, another X-Men animated series, when I was introduced to that character. And where was Dazzler? I saw this episode twice. Where was Dazzler? Like in the market? In the market.
Throwing her hands up and fireworks were going off.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like
all the characters I mentioned, you see in the market when they're all dancing around and like talking and shit and whatnot and all that, and just kind of like whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of my thing. Like I'm not familiar with Dazzler. That's the thing, and I never understood her powers. I was like, oh okay. But I guess her powers are similar to Jubilee. I guess
they're somewhat similar to Jubilee. She can create almost like pyrotechnical, like explosions or whatever, whatnot, or like energy off of her fingertips. I believe, right, Jesse?
Very much light based. For some reason, the phrase "hard light" comes into my mind. I'd have to look it up to make sure, but yeah, she's very much able to use light in some way for her powers.
You know anything about Dazzler, J-Rat? I don't know. I really don't know what the hell the full scope of her powers are.
No, I don't remember her too much.
I don't think she's that much more powerful than Jubilee.
No, what I heard, she's not as powerful as Jubilee. That's the thing. And then just wrapping up the Madeline thing, it makes total sense now because of what I saw in episode 6, which I'm not gonna spoil, because I can see what is gonna happen with this character, because we are gonna continue the story that we left her off in episode 3, but we'll get into that next week. So there's a little tease because this episode connects to next episode in a big way. It's crazy. Anyway, so it makes sense. I'm happy to see the character prior there. I really like her character, and I thought episode 3 was amazing. It's my favorite of the episodes. This is, but remember, it is my number 1. Second is the third episode that introduced us again since they're in prior. And it was great to see her character because I like her interaction with Rogue, and so I think they're just interesting with this character. And I was happy they didn't forget about her character, especially if we're doing more sister. That's the thing.
Well, thank you, Liz, for informing us. I forgot that is how her powers work. That she converts sound into light. Dazzler.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's actually kind of interesting. You wouldn't think that Dazzler's powers would be that like elaborate, but I guess they are. So and then moving on from that from that section of the episode, or moving on in the panel with that section of the episode, going to you, J-Rat. What did you think? So going, like I said, I'm going up until when they start the second round of interviews, the Trish reporter does. What did you think? Was there anything that stood out to you? Anything about with the cameos you really liked, or anything like that?
It was pretty neat to see the Genosha, because I'm trying to remember the last time I saw it. It wasn't like that in the other older seasons, the 90s shows. So it's like a big massive change, and they acknowledged that. He was like, oh man, this place is a lot different from the last time I've been here. They made the comment about that. And the Madeline Pryor part of her being like, I guess, a representative, it kind of doesn't make sense when you brought it up, but at the same time it kind of does, because she's still Jean Grey been Jean Grey for a long time. And if you were to say, hey, Jean Grey's a part of this council, you wouldn't think anything of it. She only had that, like, I guess, that temporary like insanity part when she turned into the zombie witch or pumpkin queen, whatever she turned into that one day. What was it? She
I love that. I like that. The pumpkin queen, the goblin queen.
Goblin queen. Yeah. So when she had that little episode, that was like the only time that, I guess she's completely different, because other than that, she's been Jean Grey for who knows how long, right? And she even had a kid with Cyclops. So she's in all sense, when she came back within that one episode, she's still Jean Grey, And so I'm looking at it in that aspect of like, she's actually been involved with the X-Men in the politics of the X-Men. And then for her to go over here, it's like just saying, here, this Jean Grey is going to be a part of your council, but let's change her name to Madeline Pryor, because you can't have two people called Jean Grey, right? I thought it was pretty cool. All the different type of mutants that we saw. It didn't really phase me too much. I was really invested to the main storyline, so just kind of seeing them was kind of like a look over me for like, oh hey, yeah, oh that's cool. I did like Nightcrawler. That was cool. And then was it Nightcrawler's dad? I don't remember who that was. Is that his dad? The other one, the guy who looks like a demon. I forgot his name.
Azazel.
The purple guy. I thought that was Nightcrawler's dad for what.
No.
Sure, I think in the movies, is it? No,
he's not. He's red.
I make stuff up sometimes.
Yeah, no,
he is red. That's right. He's red.
Hey, that's okay.
Okay,
they created a lot of different characters in there and whatnot. Everything. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got confused.
He kind of looked like him. He's a demon-looking guy. Yeah. It was pretty cool. That part didn't phase me. It was kind of like just kind of getting to the main story. We didn't see a lot of the group because they were at the pad chilling, so we got Rogue and Magneto and Gambit on that flight. The little smirky comments about like, yeah, he kind of didn't want to go, and Magneto's like, he goes, if this ship were to go down, you're the only person that gravity would affect. That's kind of funny little comments to throw in there. But yeah, up until that part, I was okay. I mean, not too much to say. Again, I was real focused on just the storyline until we got to the best parts.
Again, thank you, Liz. We appreciate you helping us out and whatnot with everything with the Dazzler stuff and all that, mentioning the polarized eyes and all that. A good comment on the 80s Ray-Bans. But I'm sorry, Taj Ninja, how are you guys streaming on multiple platforms? I don't know. What do you mean? It's a part of like StreamYard, like the ability to be able to do that. That's how we do it. It's not like my mutant ability or something like that or whatever, whatnot. It's just an option that I have to be able to do.
It's not like he's an X-Men.
There you go. So we're able to stream on multiple platforms. So moving on, we get Trish interviewing Scott on like Marvel Girl, right? At the same time that Jean is with Wolverine outside the mansion. Jean and Wolverine have some really good dialogue and they kiss. And Logan basically kind of tells her, right, like, we're just friends. You need to go chase after Scott and get shit right with him and whatnot and all that, which I thought was like really dope from him, right? Considering how much he loves Jean, but he's like, look, you're not yourself or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Trying to be a stand-up guy. Then Trish, the reporter, asked Scott about his son, and Scott gets all lit and fucking pissed off and whatnot. And everything is like, the hospital wouldn't even let us have the baby and all this shit. Would Rogue borrow the gynecologist or whatever his fucking abilities or whatever? I don't know, whatever. Deliver the baby.
Gynecologist.
That was a good one, right, Jared? Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Folks, I know gynecologists don't deliver babies, but so then we go back to Genosha, and we see some more interesting characters when we actually see what makes up the High Council, the rest of the High Council that Madeline Pryor is a part of with Genosha. We see Sebastian Shaw from the Hellfire Club, Emma Frost. We see Callisto from the Morlocks. We see Banshee, right, formerly from the X-Men. And I believe we also see Maura McTaggart there too, right? Yeah. She's there.
She was next to Banshee. They're married in the show.
Oh, I know, sir. I read the comics. I'm aware.
I know that. I'm just letting the audience know from the 90s.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So no, listen. You've watched more of the old animated episodes than I have, so you know more about it than I do. As far as I get where you're going. So basically they want to elect Magneto, if I understand correctly, as like the leader of the council and like the leader of Genosha, like the head of Genosha, essentially. What do you guys can tell me if they had an actual title for him or whatever? Like
Chancellor? Was that the word they were using?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So either way, they want to elect him the Chancellor. What'd you say, Liz? Oh, so Jubilee and Dazzler are my favorite MCU characters because I'm sick. Oh, okay.
She's sick in the head. That's what she means.
Oh, okay. Well, that's dope. That's dope that they're your favorite MCU characters. I actually really like Jubilee too, but Dazzler's not one of my favorite characters. And OG and Fat do deliver babies. Oh, really? No shit. How about that? Look at that.
I didn't say.
Anyway, so Magneto's like reluctant to accept this position or whatnot, right? And proposes to Rogue that she rule with him as like his queen. I think she even says, which was I don't know what I really thought about that. But we go back to the mansion and we see Jean asking Scott about baby Nathan. Right now, Jean didn't have baby Nathan, but she's still asking him, and he talks about baby Nathan, and all of a sudden, real Jean shouts, right? And because it turns out that Madeline Pryor is trying to basically contact Cyclops through the psychic rapport process that Jean and Scott used, and Jean detects it. Her trying to tap in, so she gets pissed and tells Scott how could you be in love with a fucking piece of me that was cut out by Mr. Sinister or whatnot, everything that's just a piece of me or whatever, right? Or all this shit, which was pretty deep, I thought. Really is. And you go back to the scene at the High Council, and they go right to Emma Frost, and Emma Frost knows what's going on. She knows it because she's a telepath. She has telepathic abilities and whatnot and all that, right? So she knows what's up. And Emma Frost is dope as shit too. So it's nice to see the inclusion of Emma Frost. So then we go back to get the scene, that we showed before with Gambit and Rogue discussing, Magneto's proposal. And sort of this continuation of the soap opera, as J Red said, mentioned sort of deal with this, this love triangle. That's when we see the Watcher, right, watching the events in the sky, is right at that moment. We're at that scene. And before we go into the actual gala, right, and all that whatnot, I'll stop and ask questions again. And I'll go to you first, J Red. What are your thoughts, sir, on what I just laid out there in the episode, basically, in terms of, this love triangle deal, the stuff with Jean and Scott, the scene with Wolverine and Jean, right? What are your thoughts?
I was like, yeah, Wolverine finally finally got some attention from Jean. I was kind of happy for him, and then for him to give it up that quick, I was like, okay, we'll see. But there's 2 Jean Greys now. You know what I mean? So why can't he have one?
Right.
Why can't he have a Jean Grey now?
Right.
And the thing is,
because that's not Jean Grey, baby.
Well, the one that kissed him is Jean Grey. The clone is the one that Scott Summers had the baby with.
I know.
Yeah, the baby with the clone. So
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, of course he's torn. He's torn between both of them because he, obviously was involved with Jean Grey, the original Jean Grey, and then at some point he was still, involved with the clone Jean Grey from whatever time period. We don't know when that happened, I guess. But it creates an interesting dynamic for both characters, because you can't do that to Wolverine and not give him any Jean Greys now. How you gonna do my boy dirty like that? Now he can't have any Jean Greys. And there's 2 of them. That first Cyclops was the whole cock block in the whole first series. You know what I mean? And now that there's another one, you mean to tell me you can't have one of them? Golly. I thought it was kind of funny, that happened. He was all, yeah, it's rough for him. And then they're giving him lack of screen time too lately, just because they don't want to focus on Wolverine. And I think they did. I think they mentioned that. I read this somewhere or heard this somewhere. Someone told me, or I dreamt about it. But I think they didn't want to make Wolverine like the primary focus of the X-Men, and that's why he's not involved so much in it, because of so many like different X-Men projects and this series and all the shows and standalones that he's had. He's always been like a main focus, and I don't think they wanted to focus on him on this one. Foreplay with Wolverine might be too dangerous for him to have a Jean Grey.
Oh dear.
Okay. Well,
wow, Elizabeth is becoming the Jeff of the chat.
I mean, yeah.
She's adding her own energy to the show, which is always welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And she's the MVP now.
Yeah.
Of the show. We're gonna you're gonna get the Monica Rambeau list.
Oh, I'm gonna get the fucking Monica Rambeau? Okay.
No, she, not you.
Oh, okay. All right. That has merit. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that was actually Nate that called me? Fucking Nate. Nate the Great called me. That was Nate that called me during the show. Only Nate the Great, baby.
It happens.
I'm sorry, J-Red. Go ahead.
I mean, and just to kind of wrap up on that, with Jean's or Scott was in the bedroom, like having like, psychic sex with the other one.
Personal time.
Walks in on him. Yeah. He's like, oh, what are you doing here? And then we were just chatting. Is that what you think? It was kind of funny, I don't know what's really going on there. I'm confused on that whole aspect of like why they did the whole Wolverine thing and then they did this with him. It makes me feel like they're going to set Cyclops up with the new Jean Grey, the clone one, Madeline Pryor, because that's who has his child. And then maybe this Jean Grey is gonna become available, because then he tells her to go talk to him, and then she goes over there to talk to him, and then sees that they're, that he's messing around with the other one, and then he's like, are you love me? Do you truly love me, or are you just in love with the memory of me? You know what I mean? I feel like that's a lot of dialogue to make me think that that's gonna work out. I mean, it's kind of anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it too much, but it was a lot of dialogue for all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a really deep situation when you think about it. The whole Jean, Madeline, Scott deal, all that, whatnot. It's a lot, right? Like it really is, So,
yeah,
it's you kind of have to give it attention, right? There's no way around it. But everybody just seems very like nobody's very happy. Even leaving into this episode, everyone's kind of down. Like there's a lot of like happiness going around the mansion right now. But we'll go over to you, Andres. What are your thoughts, sir, if anything, I know I don't, that the part of the episode that I'm asking you about, nothing really occurred or really happened. That's so that's why I'm asking in general, what are your thoughts on like the the sort of love triangle, right, with Magneto and Gambit kind of direction it's heading, right? Where it looks like it kind of looks like it's been solved or like worked out by the end of the episode. But like, what did you think of that part of the episode?
Great. I'm very enjoying the progression of our characters, and that's one thing I'm liking about the show is just the care and attention of the characters we left off from each episode, which is great. And so the Gambit and the Rogue and Magneto theme is so fascinating. Like I really dug that they're as they've been restating before, it's from the comics. I really dug that they pulled this out and put it in the show here, and I'm really kind of interested on this relationship. And obviously we'll get later on the flashback that we get of how this relationship started. So this moment is really intriguing, and you see a different side of Magneto. That's the thing. I like how Magneto isn't the villain. Like I like how he's this person. He has his agenda. He's still the Magneto we know, but like he wants to have this very strong woman that is Rogue to be his side. And I kind of dug that he's trying to pull Rogue into this position. So that's kind of cool. And seeing the other characters back, like more McTaggart, really great. I as Jeff restated before that I'm ahead of the original show, and it's great to see that and Banshee here, the Hellfire Club. It's great to see Sebastian Shaw, Emma Franz. Those are great characters. So yeah, I think this whole transfer thing is really intriguing, because later on in the show, they address how leaders are terrorists, and like Magneto, yes, I get he's a terrorist, but like it's not a big deal. I mean, come on, like our leaders are not perfect, so I'm surprised they're having this conversation. Yeah, and then the melodrama of the X-Men dimension, it's so gold. I'm so happy they're still knowing what kind of show is this. Like the X-Men 90 show is so camp. It's so over the top. It's just like I so dug in that. I mean the whole Scott and actual Jean together and like her conning him into prior. It's so funny. It's like a boy is like doing something he should not be doing and getting caught. Oh
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's like he's messing around on his wife, and his wife caught him. And he's messing around on his wife with his wife.
But you can't really blame him. You can't blame Scott for talking to Madeline because like they were together.
Right, dude. It is the most complicated fucking relationship in a cartoon I've ever seen. Like you got to sit there and think about like this dude is going through it. He's got to try and figure out like, oh shit, that was my wife. I married that girl, and now she's not. She left. I had a kid with that girl. She's gone out of my life now, and now I've got the real deal. What am I supposed to do? Like I wouldn't fucking know. Good luck, sir.
I go to Mr. Sister and see if he could give me two of the Gene clones that I can do a threesome with. You know what I'm saying? It'd be too hard to get Madeline and Gene together and whatnot for that shit. But I go to Mr. Sinister, go Sinister on that shit.
Yeah. Hey, talk to me.
What if they run up? Hey, what if they set Scott Summers up with both Genes, right? And they wouldn't that be a nice little plot twist in the X-Men 97?
Man,
they give it two girlfriends. How many people would that piss off?
Oh, yeah, I know that would be funny.
Have a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah.
They're trying to be accepting, right? That's what the X is about. Supposed to show like acceptance to everything. Dude, that would piss so many people off.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It's so funny. I mean, it's funny when she started.
He dedicates 8 hours a day role playing as a toddler.
I'm in baby mode on and off all day.
And Jess's daddy is caring for her.
I'm 20, but not really because I'm 5.
Adopted mommy and daddy who are totally comfortable with me being a little girl.
I identify as an 8-year-old girl called Denise. Therefore, I am an 8-year-old girl.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I've never seen that before.
I'm like, oh my god, this is the first time seeing that, Trevor. I'm so sorry, buddy. Anyway, I'm sorry, folks. If you've seen this live stream and seen that clip, that's stressful. Anyway, yeah. So speaking of Wolverine, I actually agree with you, Giant Rand. It's very refreshing not to have like a Wolverine centric thing because people have to understand after the show ended,
No, J-Rod wants more Wolverine, baby.
Oh, he wants more Wolverine. No, yeah. I do want Wolverine stuff, but I'm saying, here, like, it's refreshing, not to have a centric Wolverine, at the moment, because we're gonna get one for Deadpool Wolverine. He's the main star there with Deadpool, so that's good. And it's good that the show it's taking their time. We're getting second season, so one day we'll get another centric Wolverine. I mean, I do want to see their Sabretooth, and stuff like that. Yeah, Jinx crazy with both of them.
Agreed.
Yes, that's very true. Oh my god. Oh, Liz, that's funny. Yeah. So I'm very happy they do that.
Oh, Liz is good on the panel, Andre. Liz has been on the panel before. She's a good contributor.
Yeah, she's good. I love her. She's great. And thank you for giving us the Dazzler facts, because I'm like, who is Dazzler? I never understood her position X-Men stuff. But anyway, so when we saw Wolverine going to the real train, that was really great. I appreciate they acknowledged the relationship. I actually like the Wolverine as being smart, because if you guys remember in the X-Men films, he just takes, like, he actually kissed Jean Grey in X2, despite her being still like in a relationship with Scott, and that was so like crossing the line. Here, I like the show. They actually know that, like I appreciate that this Wolverine like knows that I cannot do this. You need to work it out with this Scott thing, and like I appreciate that. That's such a mature thing. So that was really cool. And just wrap me up. I laughed so hard when Beast was interviewing and Jean walks down, and then the crew sees it. That was so funny. It was such a soap opera. I was like, oh dear, and like Beast just like went down. That was funny. So I like this section. It was really fun. It's the most soap opera X-Men scenes in the show so far.
Jesse Starr should wrap up on this one, sir. What do you got?
Yeah, at this point in the episode, when I'm watching it, okay, through my first run through of the episode, I was really kind of like, oh, this is all right. This is soap opera is the word. Not a whole lot of action happening here. We're at Genosha. We're celebrating things. We got Jean and Madeline and Scott love triangle. Then we have Magneto, Rogue, Gambit love triangle. So I mean, I appreciated what they were trying to do, but man, I was just like, I want a little bit of action, something, please, for the love of goodness. I want to get, I don't want this episode to end with me just going, okay, so-and-so loves somebody more. That was not what I wanted to, I appreciated what they were trying to do, but I was like, I need something more. So it's at a 3 for me right here at this point in the episode. But on the second watch, I've come to appreciate a couple things. We've already talked about Wolverine and Jean, and if there's one thing that you've probably seen many times is the Wolverine meme with the photograph of him and Scott, or Scott and Jean.
Jean!
And you feel, when you see the picture, you feel for Wolverine. He loves her. And then she lays one on him. And there is a point where the music stops, because everybody at that point is like, what are they going to do here? I mean, Wolverine could have leaned right into this. There could be a whole thing where she starts seeing Wolverine on the side and Scott has no idea. And boy, we'll have a big blow up the second episode before the end.
I know Scott's a sap. He wouldn't fucking know.
But one thing you could say about Scott here is that he definitely has more of a personality than what he used to have. That is one thing that I wrote here in my notes was like, thank you for giving him a personality. He goes,
Yeah, they gave him some balls too, didn't they?
Right. Yeah, he goes off in the interview. He's pissed off. This is not something that I remember seeing too much of. And it was good to see that. So it's kind of nice to see Scott, number one, actually have emotional turmoil that you can maybe possibly identify with. Like, what are you going to do, dude? And also watch him struggle with becoming a leader, an actual leader. Professor X is gone. And of course, he's not really actually a leader. I guess I shouldn't say that because he kind of bowed out of that when Magneto took over. But regardless, he's worried about his team. He's worried about his wife. He's got somebody asking about his kid, which he initially denied having, and then has to come clean and say, okay, yeah. And then he gets a little upset. The Rogue Gambit thing is one of the things that stood out to me when I was reading X-Men comics in the 90s. This relationship that couldn't happen almost. They couldn't touch, they couldn't kiss, but boy, did they want each other. And that came through on the Jim Lee pencils that I was reading in my X-Men. When I was reading my X-Men, that stuff was, and it's here too. And when what was it? Was it the first episode where Magneto and Rogue are kind of talking and Gambit overhears it and drops the Queen card? And then at the end of this segment where they're talking back and forth, Gambit has the Queen card in his hand again and he throws it into the fire and he's like, I guess we'll just be friends. And that's great. That's the high road, brother. You're not fighting for her as much as you want to. He respects her decision and they move on. And this was the relationship. And you're like, what is she going to do? Is she going to leave him? Is she going to go by Magneto's side? Well, so yeah, second watch through, I'll give it a 5. How's that? I went from 3 to 5 at this point. Then we get into this next segment.
Yeah, you got to. The cameos are cool. Don't get me wrong. They're nice. They're nice. I guess eye candy or whatnot when you see them in trailers and stuff.
Right.
But overall, when you put yourself in the perspective of like general audience people out there, even I didn't know who all those mutants were. Right. I only, some of them I learned from like other creators and whatnot to do, doing research and whatnot, reading articles. Some of them I did know. Right. But I didn't read all the X-Men comics. I didn't finish X-Force. Right. I only read a couple S-Factors back in the day, so I'm not an expert. But good points by everybody. And as far as the private chat goes, J-Rant, and just so you know, Jesse, I think that they are honestly setting Cyclops up in X-Men 97 right now. Like the change you've seen in the character could very well have something to do with the fact they are setting up the live action X-Men team coming here eventually. We are getting to that point where they're really going to actually tangibly start production on a film or something right here soon. The rumors have been out there, so it's sort of X-Men 97 is kind of bringing it in, sort of welcoming it in. So I'm going to play another clip right now to kind of like get into the ending of the episode. Just to give you guys something where I don't have to talk about it. We can just watch, but I can ask the questions off of it.
You survived.
I'm so sorry, Mom.
Sorry for what?
The real trick to reversing what the Executioner did to you wasn't making an inverted version of its radiation.
It was creating a machine that could safely channel such power.
Get to the gardens! Hurry!
Save as many as you can.
You ready?
Give it a try.
Winds, heed my command.
They shall be avenged!
I am Storm, mistress of the elements. Rise, winds, and move the desert sands. Please, winds, hear me.
Hab keine Angst.
Please. This isn't happening, Forge. It can't be real.
I know, Aurora. I know.
The cards always be in my favor. The name's Gambit, mon ami. Remember it.
Sugar.
No matter how dark it is.
Okay, that was very emotional.
Damn.
So, I know. I gave you guys that was not. Aren't you glad I played that instead of me talking for 5 minutes? Right there you go. Isn't that better? So the only thing I wanted to mention, and I'll just ask you guys questions about that part of the episode, is that we do in the gala during the actual celebration, we see Archangel pop out for a minute, right? Love Archangel. When Rogue comes out in that red dress, we hear Ace of Base, which I knew was Ace of Base the minute they played it, right? I knew it. I'm like, oh shit, Ace of Base. No shit. Because like Ace of Base, you just know Ace of Base, right? They have a very distinct sound. So like, you know, when you hear like their
very
bass
90s
line,
too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, they just have us. They get hats off the Ace of Base. When you hear Ace of Base track, you know it's Ace of Base, right? Some of those fucking videos are funny with them dudes, them two dudes they had in the band or whatever, the T or whatever, whatnot. They were just like Nilly Vanilli or whatever.
It was just one dude.
Oh, whatever.
I don't remember, honestly.
I think there were two actually. I don't even know what they were even there for.
Was there?
Yeah, they just pretended to play. They pretended to play keyboards and shit and whatnot. They were just there for eye candy to balance out the other chicks that did the singing and shit and whatnot. This is the 90s, dude. So shit was all fucked up. You know, it's the 90s. So, anyways, we see Madeline Pryor get hit with a psychic blast, right? She sees visions, and then we get the Cable scene where Cable shows up, right? Probably, I would get, we guess to like thwart this attack in some way, right? Obviously, he's aware of it. And Chris Potter voices Cable. We see Marrow is also there. We see Marrow, other than the Archangel. Cable's the first one that sees the huge explosions to the side. And tells Madeline Pryor, get everyone out. He's coming, right? Which is obviously very key. And then says to her, I'm sorry, Mom, when his time runs out, like his time slipping deal runs out or whatnot, and he has to leave, right? And that's when that main blast is Genosha. And we get the Wild Sentinel, right? Which is, I guess, what the best I could call it, a Wild Sentinel with the 3 heads and all that shit.
It's Mastermind.
They called it Godzilla.
If that was the Master Mold,
Godzilla Sentinel.
That's what they say.
Sentinel?
Yeah, that's what they say in the description, that it's master mode.
That's master mode? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy version of master mold. It's dropping sentinels down, like, from its belly or whatever.
Oh yeah. It was dropping them. Yep.
So I mean, I guess I could see that. I had no idea what it was. I thought it was a tri-sentinel because it has the 3 heads, which I think the tri-sentinel has in the comics. But again, Jay Rent said they're calling it the Godzilla Sentinel, which I could understand why, because it's fucking obliterating everything.
And in the comments they called the only other thing I could find was wild sentinels, ones that are like just unexplainable, right? But obviously the thing was powerful as shit, right? I mean, like literally, and like I was saying in the private chat, the way that those blasts sounded, it was literally like just really well done. The animation looked great in this episode. But I'm gonna leave it right there. That's all I really wanted to mention and whatnot. And everything, we see everybody start getting vaporized right from that point. We see, Banshee get vaporized with Morrow and whatnot and everything. And Nightcrawler saves Rogue and Gambit, but he's already like half dead. So I'll go to you, Jesse Starcher, and then you, Jay, and then you, Andre's pop culture guy. What are your thoughts on the end of the episode as we wrap this up?
Hot damn, Mike. I mean, okay, so yeah. I was at a 3 when I first watched this, and I'm like, when's the fucking action going to start happening? And holy shit. I mean, that was an insane ending to this show, to this episode. I mean, my gosh, I don't even know what to say. I'm a huge fan of Cable. I love time travel. I don't know what Cable was doing back there. Obviously, he's trying to intervene and save some people. I don't remember at the end of this episode if we saw if Madeline was okay. Was Madeline okay at all? Did we see that after this? So I don't know if this is a situation where he's come back to save his mom, and then at the last second he can't, and that's why he says, "I'm so sorry," and he gets pulled away. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to watch next episode. Besides, I don't even know if it touches on him. I just saw some of the stuff.
She was they didn't actually show get vaporized or crushed like that and whatnot.
Okay. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, my goodness, what a way to end this with Gambit. There's so many iconic things that happen in these final few minutes. Magneto using a fucking maglev train to fight the Sentinel, which is great. Just seeing him use it like a whip back and forth. The sound, you guys mentioned the sound. That's the first thing I noticed when I started watching this series is how well the sound just comes through. I watched it on surround sound and got the bass turned up, and it sounds phenomenal. And yeah, I think that probably added to my experience of this episode because I was drawn in. But yeah, to watch, I know you guys are going to have so much to say about it, but to watch Gambit put his life on the line, and when Rogue goes straight at that Sentinel because of what happened to Magneto, he knows she's going to die because the Sentinel powers up, and he throws the bike at her to get her out of the way so she doesn't get hit. And then he does his thing and ends up, as we saw, on some type of Sentinel spike of some sort. And then he charges that fucking thing up. And he
did it purposely. He wanted to get it to get caught. He wanted to get punctured or whatnot. He did. That's what I understood.
I figured he was just going to leap up on there, use his hands like he does his cards, and just obliterate it that way. But either way, man, we lost Gambit. We lost, and I'm watching this episode, and I think a lot of the whole relationship troubles that he was having with Rogue, I didn't realize would sneak up on me and make it so emotional to watch him die. So I don't know. I'm just hoping. I want to see more Cable. The way that we ended this episode with her crying over his body, touching him with her bare hands, and there's nothing happening. It shows you that it's final and just really breaks your fucking heart. So it was absolutely my favorite episode of this season. If they do anything like this again the rest of the season, I mean, I will say that this is probably one of my favorite animated shows in quite some time. So I had a good time watching this episode, and even though it was heart wrenching, it was what I thought that they could do with this show, with the X-Men, with the X-Men animated series. You were able to do this with this property. Just do it again, and I mean, you're going to have an audience easy. That's it. I'm done. I'm passionate. I love it.
Hey, we like to see that passion, Jesse. Honestly, you made some really solid points, and it's all open to interpretation. None of us really know what actually happened, right? It happened, whatever happened. We'll figure it out as we continue watching the episodes and whatnot and get farther down. I'm sure we'll get explanations of some more of this shit. But one thing to take into consideration is that you never know. There's a small possibility that like even Magneto could even be responsible for this happening, right? Like think of Magneto, of what he's like. He could be the type to like set this up himself, right? It could be Apocalypse. Who knows? I don't know.
And that's what I was expecting, because he comes in, Cable comes in, and he's yelling, he's coming. And at the beginning of the episode, when you watch the intro, you see Cable fighting Apocalypse. And I was like, oh, okay. So Apocalypse is going to show up and we're going to have a pretty big battle on our hands. That's not what happens, though. So, I'm really curious as to what else they're going to do if Cable's going to show up again here later this season. I hope he does.
See, having not watched a lot of the original animated series, seasons, just the stuff that we reviewed in season 1, me and Andres. I only know the only reason that I would automatically assume Apocalypse is from the comics. He would be the Apocalypse,
right,
with Cable, right? Because ultimately that is Cable's ultimate villain.
Exactly.
But J-Ret, what are your thoughts, sir?
I have so many thoughts. I have so many like opinions on this thing, because this episode is the best episode so far. I mean, it's a 10 out of a bunch out of a 10, I guess. Well, just to kind of start off, initially before I saw this episode, like my social media about it was like blowing that, like, holy moly, have you seen this episode? I'm like, what am I missing? Okay, people are telling me it's a good episode, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh, I understand now. I get it. The way that, okay, so to start off, we'll talk about Cable. Cable, everybody knows, is a time traveler. I thought it was obvious, and I guess it's not obvious because nobody's really brought this up, but yes, Magneto and Gambit die. But I think with the presence of Cable being there, besides trying to warn them, is going to tell us later that he might come back, and this might change. They might change it. They might bring Gambit and Magneto back. I was thinking, like, it's obvious. Okay, Cable's here. He's going to change the past, and they're going to be alive again. That's my opinion on this going forward, is that they're going to be alive probably by the end of this season. They're going to come back because they're going to change what happened in this series, right? I guess if that wasn't obvious, then maybe I'm totally wrong. That's what I thought. The beginning of season, I think it was, or in season 1 or season 2, I think it's season 2, when Magneto rescues the Morlocks. I always want to call them the Warlocks, but and then Leech, he sees there, he told them, he goes, don't worry, you're never gonna have to be afraid again, and then they get to that part of where they were trapped, and Magneto said, I made a promise, and I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna get them, and then like he puts up that shield, and then that Godzilla Master Mold throws that crazy green blast at it, and he's using his magnetic force field to like protect them. And that scene there, where Rogue was like, don't do it, and she tries to go over there, and like Magneto uses his magnetic powers and bolts her up and ties her and covers her up with metal, because Magneto kind of like already knows, and that kid is like holding on to him, right? Like he's like covering him, and he's like, he knows that he can't keep up that magnetic field, right? And it's like such a dramatic moment, because even you can see like Rogue's eyes like looking at him like, no, he's not. And like he's having a flashback of like from the views of like when he was in the Holocaust as a kid, as afraid, right? And he looks at Leech because he told Leech that not to be afraid, right? And he knows that he's afraid because he's holding it up, and he looks at him And that's why he told him in German, don't be afraid, because that's what he tells him. He tells him don't be afraid, but he tells him in German because in the Holocaust when he was a kid, that's how they told him. And then his force field gives out, and then that beam just obliterates him, you know what I mean? Because he can't hold it. It was just like a shock moment, like, oh wow, they just killed Magneto. And it had like the sentiment like of where he told, he looked at the kid and told him not to be afraid of anything, even though they were meeting, he knew that they were going to die at that moment, but he wanted to reassure him that everything was going to be okay, which is like really deep for a cartoon. Was amazing. And then when it was like, Omega threat eliminated, right? You're like, wow. And, that's when Ro comes out. And, you see her anger in her face and the tears, that are coming down. And then she takes off quick and those tears like fly out, right? You can see the tears, the way they did that. That was really neat. And Gambit comes, does this thing where he's like, you know what? I don't want her to die. Because he loves her. He cares for her, even though they have that issue going on in that triangle. He pushes her out of the blast. Not that we don't know that she could survive it or not, but he pushes her out of the blast, and then he does this thing to go and I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was going to go there to sacrifice himself. I think he was going with the intent of like, I'm going to take it out how I've done it every other time, where I've thrown a card or throw something or with the spike and blown him up that way, because that's how he's always done it with all of them. And this time he just gets caught with that little claw, because they've never had claws on them, and this one has a claw, a little spider claw. Hits him on the side, and I totally didn't anticipate that thing was gonna light up. His power was gonna go through his side of his body,
right?
And then it zapped that guy. That was really cool. A good way to end it out, with him dying, and then Rogue, they're saying that she can't feel him, and then that's how they ended it. They're like, I can't feel you, and then they ended it with like no sound either. It was like, oh wow, that's how you're gonna do us. You're gonna end it like that, just with that last word, and then just keep it quiet for that exiting scene. Yeah. It was something else. It was strong. It was very strong.
They played a real kind of like sad theme on the way out too. Like it wasn't the hip, the fun, exciting X-Men theme too. They shot this series took with killing off a character. You weren't expecting that in this show. I knew it was going to be a little bit more adult, but I wasn't expecting people to fucking die, which is great. I think that's fantastic. It's a way of maturing the series. So, all right, sorry.
So, what are you sorry for? You made a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. It was a great episode. As soon as I saw it, I was like rejuvenated in the series, because like we mentioned last time, I kind of lost a little bit of interest in episode 4, and this one like just brought everything back and then some, because now I was like waiting to see episode 6, So it was great. I loved it. 11 out of 10.
Fuck yeah, baby. Gotta love it. I'll do the pop culture guy, sir.
Yes. Oh man, I was so excited to talk about this episode after last week. Jerry Red was saying that survive stuff, and I was like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I can understand. Episode 4 wasn't. It was such a filler episode. Had two stories at the same time, which was new for the cartoon show, for X-Men. But man, when that Sentinel blast hit you, that was like, whoa, unexpected. It was like such cinematic. Like it was like an anime. Like all of a sudden it was like anime action, which was crazy. And like, oh man, this is the best Sentinel attack ever. I mean, I love the Sentinel, so I'm happy we're seeing them more. And yeah, you guys are right that the Sentinel was the creature that was created by Casanova Nova. By the way, this storyline is adapted from the Grant Morrison one. The E is for extinction. So right away when they did that, this was a direct adaptation to that storyline, which was cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so it was really nice that they actually did that. and when I wrap up, I'll let you guys know who's behind this, because I find out just today about who actually did it, and it's been confirmed. But anyway, yeah, Magneto, like the part that got me was when Magneto flashed it back on his Holocaust. That hit me. I was like, oh my god, I didn't expect they were gonna do that. You know, and then he's like, I'll avenge you. And like puts on the trade and like whips it to the Sentinel. I was like, wow. Magneto's pissed. I was like, wow. And you know, and of course the Gamma staff, I was like not expecting when he got impaled with the Sentinel claw, whatever, you know, that cram bar. I was like, whoa, that was brutal. And you seen blood, you know, it was crazy. And he did his catchphrase from season 2. Remember it, you know, my name is Gambit, Marley. I was like, oh no, don't do that. And then bam, you know, explosion. I was like, no. Oh my god. It was crazy. And oh my god, Rogue, my babe, my lady. Why you do that to her? And when you know, I agree, Jay, right? When you say that, you know, I don't feel him, but it was the first line. He say, sugar, I cannot feel you. That killed me. I was like, oh, don't do this to me. Yeah, I agree with everyone. I mean, this is the best episode so far in terms of this series. Like, this is number 1. I mean, it just hit you so hard. And you know, and just think it back, you know, like I appreciate the reveal of why Magneto and Rogue's relationship makes sense with the flashback they gave us. It was really cool. We didn't ever talk about that. It was really nice to when she was telling that to Gambit about how, you know, when Mystique had her, you know, prior to her joining the X-Men, you know, Magneto helped her learn how to control her powers more. And so that made a lot of sense why the relationship is like that strong, you know, to begin with. When we saw, you know, this relationship, you know, reveal in episode 2. That's when, you know, this episode 2 is when Magneto joined the team. So yeah, I was just shocked. And I almost thought that they're gonna kill off Nightcrawler because he got hit so hard. I was like, no, you're not gonna kill Nightcrawler. And thank goodness they say he's alive, but he was like, you know, I was like, okay. Yeah. So and just wrapping up, episode 6 confirmed who actually did it. By the way, the person I brought up the storyline, E is for Extinction, the Grant Morrison run. That person that attacked Genosha in the comics was Casanova Nova, the villain of Deadpool 3 that we saw.
Yeah.
But they actually changed it to another villain that we already saw in this season, which I'm not gonna spoil because it's a great reveal. And let me say, it's not.
You just did spoil it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give you a good tease. It's not Apocalypse.
There's no tease. You just spoiled it. You just spoiled it completely.
Tell me, who is it? Tell me.
We've only seen one villain this season.
You didn't spoil it. No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Yeah, we got multiple villains.
3.
Yeah, we got like seen 3 villains. We got Trax, we got Sinister, we got Magneto, and like, I mean, there's other villains.
Obviously, it would be Sinister. Obviously, at that point.
Well, I'm not gonna say it, but check it out next episode.
That's who it would be. Obviously, logically.
Oh my god, you're such a fire pooper.
But no, that's not true.
Yeah, it's not true.
Trax, it could have. I mean, he's the one with the Sentinels.
Yeah, I mean, it's Trax, and then don't forget.
Yeah, but Sinister's aligned to Apocalypse, and Cable said him. He'd only say him if he was referring to fucking Apocalypse. So
no. Actually,
Apocalypse and Sinister fuck with each other.
Yeah, well, they're not working together. Remember, in the original show, I actually know this. I'm sorry. In the show,
I'm not trying to go into a whole other side conversation. These gentlemen are trying to get out of here at some point.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Just remember, Apocalypse and his sister are not working together because they hate each other at this point in the show. So Apocalypse is not going to show up in the show. Just letting you know. But anyway, that's all I had to say. Great episode. I was very shocked that they actually did that. Like, I did agree with Jesse. You know, yeah, I heard there it was going to be a very mature show, but I wasn't expecting this level. So I'm very impressed about the show. So I'm very excited to talk again in episode 6 and in the future of the episodes. So I'm in.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're not going to have it. We might as well just go ahead and do our ratings and plug out as a show because we already went 2 hours. So we'll save, Andres, we'll save our topics for next Monday. So, folks, we're going to do our ratings and do our plugs. We're going to get the fuck out of here so everybody can get some sleep and eat and, and hang out with their families and all that good stuff. So I'll start off with the ratings on this episode. I'm going to give this episode a 9.5. I thought I honestly think episode 2 is better than episode 5. I do, but that's just my opinion. That's my personal opinion. I'll go over to you, I'll just pop culture guy, and then you, J-Rent, and you, Jesse. Give me your ratings.
Okay. My rating will be a 10 out of 10. Very strong episode. I just think it just delivered on the action and X-Men stuff so well.
All right, Mr. J-Rent 2000.
Yeah. I mean, you know me, I don't give high ratings at all unless if I feel they deserve it. For me, it's a 10 for sure. I mean, they did some things that are 10 worthy for one. So yeah.
I like to give out. I probably give overall. You already know I give higher overall ratings probably than you do, but I give some lower ratings from time to time on some stuff. And if you ever notice, I don't like to just drop 10s all over the place. I don't. I really like to try to kind of keep them.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't give it a 10.
No, I like to keep them saved. I really do. I like to really be careful about dropping them. Even when I reviewed the fucking Two Towers, right? The Lord of the Rings Two Towers over it with Matthew and Board to Watch. When it was time to rate it, right? Like I couldn't give it a 5 out of 5 stars, even though it's Two Towers. I had to give it a 4.75 or whatever, whatnot, because I was like, oh, I've got to save my 5 for next time or whatever. Even though it is a fucking 5, right? Like everyone knows it's a 5. So, anyways, Jesse, your rating, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a 10 out of 10 too. I mean, there's a lot that this episode did to kind of build you up to what is about to happen. And when you look at the craft aspect of like how slow we're going to take it, and then all of a sudden we are just going to blow your minds. They did it. I mean, there's a reason why this is one of the most talked about episodes of television when this dropped. So,
it's got YouTube lit.
Right, dude. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10. If they do something to beat this episode this season, like I said, man, this is phenomenal if that's the case. So somebody's got to get some retribution. So hopefully they will have a big ass battle in that final episode. I can't wait to see it.
It looks like we're heading towards something. And from what I've seen with the titles of the episodes, we're going to have something big there, like a 3-part arc there at the end of the season.
Nice.
It looks like it's going to be interesting. So, all right, y'all. Well, listen, appreciate everybody being on. It was a great review. Good job, right? We kept it under 2 hours. That's always nice. Let me pull up plugs. I will start with Mr. J-Rent 2000. But Mr. J-Rent 2000, sir, I think I've asked you before. I just can't remember. Besides pulling up you on Facebook, where else can I pull you up, or would you like me to pull you up, or is there anywhere else you'd like me to pull you up?
No, you don't have to pull me up anywhere. Well, you can find me on Apple. You can also find me on Spotify as well.
Okay.
I don't really delve into like YouTube or anything else. Facebook is like the main social media source that I use.
That's what I thought.
If I don't use Facebook, it's going to be a Spotify or Apple.
Okay, most definitely. What have you been doing? Have you been active? Have you been active lately?
Sexually?
Well, I mean, I would hope that you've been sexually. I mean, you are in some kind of relationship with Mrs. Liz. So I would hope that you would be straight in that area, sir. I bet what's going on over at Podcast Odyssey.
Yeah, I've been conjuring up ideas, talking to different people to, trying to get different people that I normally have than on the show. So I'm right now, I'm just coasting a few people in mind that I would be bringing on that have never been on before. And so I've just been toying around with ideas, but Not active. It's been like 2 weeks maybe since I've done anything, but
okay.
I'm okay with that.
Well, you know what? I'm okay with that too,
Yeah,
sir.
just keeping it.
I know you've been busy.
I'm gonna hang out with you on your show.
Hey, I'm glad that we can be an outlet for you, whatever, whatnot, and all that. So you could get your content, vibe in, whatnot, right? And get that part, out. At least you're recording. You know what I'm saying? It's good. It's good for your creative process,
Absolutely.
sir. Right? I would hope.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
There you
Absolutely.
go, sir. All right, so Mr. Jesse Starcher, you are that, sir. I'm going to pull up the YouTube first, and then I'm going to pull up your pod itself.
I appreciate that.
I'll pull up the YouTube real quick and whatnot. You are, of course, the host of Source Material Comics Podcast.
That's right. Yeah, right here you can take a look. I'm part of the W2M network. We got a lot of shows over there, but Unspoken Issues and the Source Material Comics Podcast. Those are two podcasts that I do there. Unspoken Issues is 90s comics all the time. So if you tune into any of those episodes, you're going to hear us talk about 90s comics. Recently, we dropped a Wonder Woman story called I think it's called The Contest. We called it the Artemis Saga. It basically took place across 10 issues of Wonder Woman. I don't read Wonder Woman that much, and that was a damn good story. So if you want to check that out, you can. And of course, Source Material, which is any book, any era, any storyline, and as long as it's in comics, we're usually talking about it. And recently we talked about Mask, which was not anything like the Jim Carrey thing that you saw in theaters. It was hyper violent, and it is a lot of fun. And right there's the podcast page. You can see anything. There's Snap Material. Snap Material is if you play Marvel Snap, have I got a podcast for you? We do about 5 shows once a month, I think is what we do. It's me and Evan Bevins, and we talk about Marvel Snap, the season that came before, the season that's coming up, and some other fun stuff there too. So you can check that out. So I appreciate you guys having me on here, man. I'm so glad. It's so funny because Jeff was like, what episode do you want to talk about? And I was like, I don't know. I guess episode 5. I'll be in on that one. Had no idea it was going to be like this. I had no clue, and I'm so glad I got to talk about it with you guys.
No, it worked out well.
Yeah.
Good
Yes,
pick.
it did. Good pick.
A good pick. We're always happy to have you, Jesse. It's good to have you on the Monday show. We don't really have that many guests. Like I told J-Rep before, I've only had a couple guests on, only recently. Really, Ask About 97 is the first time we've really started putting people on the show with us. Usually it's just me and him. So it's been nice. It's been a nice change. We're kind of trying to adjust to it,
Sure.
But it makes it a lot harder to try to cram in fandom, pop culture, news in and all that stuff and whatnot and all that when you add more actual creators on the show to talk about this stuff. But I'm just pop culture guy, sir. I am actually going to pull you up and plug you out, sir, over at I'm just pop culture guy channel presents. Tell me, sir, what is going on over at your YouTube channel?
Doing good. Just posted. I'm up to 932 subscribers, so I'm almost there in terms of the mark. Just recently. Thank you, Jeff. Well, I want to say thank you, Jeff, for joining me yesterday to do a Chucky live stream review of season 3, part 2. We did the review of episode 5 and 6. It was really fun. It was great to meet Jeff. Went to do that because the Chucky series was the first for me to start doing a live stream. If you guys remember, so it's doing really well. So thank you, Jeff, for joining me yesterday. It was really fun, and and I just recently posted a Planet of the Apes tribute for Andy Serkis because his birthday was 2 days ago. Great character he played in the trilogy that we had from 2011, and very excited for the new film that's coming out in 3 weeks, in May 10th. So so that's where I'm at right now, and soon I will do a retrospective review on Hellboy, the 2004 film, because this is 20th anniversary this year, and I will post another trailer reaction. I don't know if I want to do the Joker 2 reaction or the Deadpool 3, which I'll discuss that with Jeff later on. But that's where I'm at right now in terms of my content. But I want to thank everyone for joining us today, Jenray and Jess. It was great to see you guys again. It was really fun to talking with you guys. This was a blast. I hope to see you guys soon. And I want to thank you, the community of MCU, for helping me. And Cyber, please help us reach that mark for 2024.
Cyber already met you. He got there, bro.
Yeah, well, I reached the 2 mark. 2 mark.
Okay, there we go. All right, all right, folks. You know the drill. We love everybody out there. God bless you. We're back on again. We're live on Wednesday night for Shogun Chapter 9, Crimson Sky, baby. We got Fallout Episode 3 on Friday, right? And we're back next Monday on this night to do S-Men 97 Episode 6 and a shit ton of fucking fandom, pop culture, fandom news to talk about. So we're about to get after it. Thanks, guys. Peace.
Galaxy.
Yeah. Someone at the door, John, now I'm here to stay. Tell me who the fuck gonna face the music. More brick laying, less screen time. Been cutting back on the daily usage. Long road for the road dogs, for the weird miles from the soap.